You'll recall that on the 29th day of October, a Friday evening, the house of one of the Supreme Court justices, Justice Mary Odili, GSC, situated somewhere at Maitama, a high-brow neighborhood in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, was invaded by persons whose identities were known to mainstream law enforcement communities. Following that unlawful attempt at raiding the house of the Supreme Court Justice, the Inspector General of Police ordered a comprehensive investigation into it. Earlier on, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice had also submitted a written petition to the Office of the Inspector General of Police requesting a robust and discreet investigation into the matter with the aim of unraveling the identities of the persons involved, their motives, and perhaps the authorities, if any, behind them. The case was subsequently handed over to the Force Intelligence Bureau on the instruction of the IGP, and today I'm here to present you with a summary of our findings. A total of 14 suspects are here with us today. 7 are still at large, and detectives are working around the clock to round up the remaining suspects who are either directly or indirectly linked with this very serious offense. In the course of our investigations, we discovered that the man who was acclaimed to be a chief superintendent of police, Lawrence Ajodo, is in fact not a police officer. He is an impostor. He is not one of us, and neither is he known to be an officer with any of the other primary law enforcement agencies in the country. We discovered that although the team, this syndicate actually obtained a search warrant, that particular search warrant was obtained based on false representations that were made. The search warrant contained number 9, Imo Crescent, Imo River Street, but the house that they attempted to gain access into actually is number 7. We also discovered that the identity card, which was purported to have been issued by the Office of the Attorney General and which actually bears the signature of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice is also a forged document. The signature that was superimposed on that ID card was also fraudulently obtained and fraudulently imposed on that document. The crime was a well-conceived one with actors drawn from different fields of human endeavors. It was a web-like arrangement with members of the syndicate having backgrounds in different fields such as law, journalism, banking, and even some rogue law enforcement agents. I will take you through the sequence of that story as quickly as we can. It was a bogus claim of whistle blowing, which originated from one Yusuf Adamu. Yusuf Adamu is a civil servant attached to Bauchi State Government Liaison Office here in Abuja. He claims to have a very intimate relationship with the family of the Odilis, and also claims to have inside knowledge of the working arrangements of the family. He is the first person who came out to say there was large amount of money in the house in foreign currencies ranging from pounds to euro to dollars. Yusuf Adamu thereafter contacted Bashir Musa. Bashir Musa is a clerk in the audit department of Central Bank of Nigeria, and sought the assistance of Bashir Musa in getting a spiritualist or a prayer warrior who could actually pray and get the money cleansed, as according to him there was some spell upon the money. Bashir in turn contacted Sheikh Ujibo and Abdullahi Adamu. These two men, or specifically Abdullahi Adamu, in turn contacted Aliyu Umar Ibrahim. Aliyu Umar Ibrahim claims to be an Islamic scholar and an Islamic prayer warrior who specializes in istikhar kind of prayer. Aliyu subsequently paid a visit to the neighborhood where the house is located, took samples of soil, and then conducted his prayers or his spiritual exercise, and having gazed through his crystal balls, came back with a confirmation that indeed there are huge amounts of money in the house. And at that point in time, he took it upon himself to become the official whistleblower. He went a step further by going to the court to get an affidavit. And this persons also made attempts to reach out to EFCC and see if they can enlist the support of some personnel of EFCC to carry out this raid. In that process, Bayero Lawal was contacted. Bayero in turn contacted one Austin, who is still at large. And after failed attempts at enlisting the support of operatives of EFCC, Bayero intervened again and contacted one Ajia, one Sani, who is also at large. Sani in turn contacted Ajia Memuna Meshanu. Ajia Memuna Meshanu then decided to enlist the support of her cousin, one Michael Dieter Spieth. Although Ajia is from Kano State, the mother is from the southern part of the country. He eventually had a meeting with Michael, with one other person currently at large known as Godwin. It was Godwin who eventually contacted Lawrence Ajodo, the acclaimed chief superintendent of police, an enlarged meeting took place where Godwin, Michael Dieter Spieth, Ajia Memuna, Lawrence Ajodo, the fake CSP, Bayero, and then Aliu Umar, who have now become known as the whistleblower, took place. In that meeting, the fake CSP demanded for the sworn affidavit, which had earlier been deposed by Aliu Umar. From that point, he took possession of that affidavit. Lawrence Ajodo took charge of the driving seat. And from that point, he coordinated the entire criminal enterprise Lawrence later on contacted Barrister Alex, one Barrister Alex, in furtherance of effort as perfecting the plan to actually carry out the raid and recover the so-called money. Barrister Alex, in turn, contacted Barrister Igwe, who also brought in one Stanley, who claims to be a journalist with one of the most reputable newspapers in this country. Meanwhile, in earlier meetings, one of the participants, Godwin, who is currently at large, had been given an assignment or a task of enlisting members of the law enforcement community who could become part of the plot in order to give a semblance of officialdom, a semblance of legality on the so-called raid. In furtherance of that objective, Godwin contacted one Odili, a herbalist who prefers to be called a naturopath. Odili in turn brought in one ASP Mohammed, and Mohammed in turn brought in 2 soldiers from Lingu barracks. These 2 soldiers are still at large. On the day of the failed operation, the ill-fated operation, the highly condemnable, illegal operation, all of these persons were in attendance. The 2 soldiers were said to have dressed in their uniform, Mohammed in mufti, and then the rest all led by the fake CSP Lawrence Ajodo. The security men who are on guard in the premises of Justice Mary Odili deserve a lot of commendation. They took their time to scrutinize the documents and discovered the disparity in the street numbers quoted in the document and the one and that of the house they are protecting. And they provided stiff resistance to these illegal invaders. And that singular action saved this nation of what would have been even a greater level of embarrassment. Our investigations into this case have been swift. They've been intelligence-driven. They've been very comprehensive. And every single person who is in any way connected to this matter, to this crime currently at large, will eventually get into our net. We are working around the clock to make sure the remaining suspects now at large are arrested. We have also officially reached out to other agencies whose personnel have been in any way or in any form implicated in this crime. We expect maximum cooperation from everyone. There is one Abdullahi, also Alaju, who is believed to be an immigration officer. We are working around the clock to equally get him arrested. As soon as we tidy the remaining part of the investigation, every suspect implicated in this case will be charged to court, and the charges that were preferred against them will depend on their level of involvement, the roles they played, charges ranging from conspiracy, personation, criminal trespass, perjury, forgery, and other types of crime that might be uncovered against them will likely be contained in the charge sheet. We've also discovered that there is no involvement at all of the officials of the Federal Ministry of Justice in this case. These criminals are loose cannons who were all out forging different documents and trying to carry out their crimes under all kinds of false representations. At this juncture, we will allow you to interact very briefly with them and then take your questions and bring this to an end. You want me to tell you more about the journalist? Yes. Well, his name is Stanley Nkwazeme. His name is Stanley Nkwazeme. He claims to be a senior journalist with these day newspapers. He played very key roles, including attending several meetings. He accompanied them to the courts while they were trying to perfect the processes and interpose judiciary approvals to the act of their criminalities. He also accompanied the syndicate to the house on the date the failed raid was to be carried out. During my personal interaction with him, he claimed he was working on the story. And the simple question I asked him is, after the story broke out that the house of a sitting Supreme Court justice was invaded, why did you not quickly do a story to show exactly what has happened if you were actually propelled by true intentions, patriotic intention, professional journalistic intentions? He didn't answer that question. It took detectives 5 days after that incident or more before he got into our net. And within that interlude, within that interregnum, he never in any way did a story to actually tell us or tell the world what actually transpired. And so for us, he was not just a passerby. He was a part and parcel of the entire web-like criminal network. He will speak to you since you are so interested in him.
I find it rather embarrassing. My name is Stanley Nkwazema. I find it rather embarrassing. Listen, I'm talking. Let me finish.
No. You can't call the shots here. You tell us your name. You tell us what you do.
I am a journalist.
What is your name?
My name, I answered it. I said, my name is Stanley Nkwazema.
You're a journalist. Where do you work?
This day.
You work?
I'm a contributing editor with This Day.
Are you a staff of This Day or you freelance for This Day?
I am a staff of This Day. Now, let me now start with your questions. First of all, I came here to the police force intelligence unit by myself when I was called by Barrister Alex Onyeko. He said, Stanley, come, they want to interview you. I came by myself. Nobody arrested me. Nobody called me other than him that, come, your attention is needed here. And on that Sunday, I came down to this place. and they were interrogating me, and I wrote a written statement first.
Okay, yes, tell us, what is your involvement in this point?
My involvement here is that Barrister Alex Onyekoro, who is seated here, called me. Sister, I normally visit him in his office and all this. When he has things for me to do, I do it for him and for other people and for this country. When he told me that, there's a lead of a scoop of an asset recovery and funds that they claim to be in a house that nobody is residing, that it involves millions of dollars. I said, but what is all this that Nigeria is borrowing money and there's a large amount of money stashed in some people's houses? That was when he now told me about Lawrence Ajodo. I said, okay. He said I should find out, that he will give me a lead. I was following Lawrence. The day we had the first meeting to find out, I found discrepancies in his ID card. I asked him, how can an AG sign the passport or the identification of a so-called CSP? Is it from the office of the AG or from where you claim to work? And he said, no. I found out again from him on my interrogation leading to what I was packaging to work on. I said, where did you train as a policeman? I got 2 problems with him. He told me, I said, that he was in Udi. I said, there's no police training college in Udi. It is in Wudil. He said, yes. I said, Wudil, Kanu. He said, okay. The next thing I asked, he didn't finish in Wudi. Wudil's police college in Canada. He now finished in Jos. I said, which school in Jos?
Okay. You were in the court the day they got their...
Let me now explain my involvement in the court. In the morning of that day, when he now said he has gotten the affidavit and that the court warrant has not been signed, that Igwe will meet him in court. And that from the court, we are all going to move and meet the police team that will be stationed in a hillock at the Ministry of Justice to go there. I said, okay, we now pass through Finance Ministry, through the old Finance Ministry. Sorry. We now moved. From then, when I now discovered that the place I couldn't find a court whatever post to show that this is a court, I was calling him. I said, you say you are in a court. Where are you? I now came. When he now directed me, after several minutes of searching the place in Zone 6, I called him. Where is it your office? You say it's in Zone 6. That is a branch or a legally constituted office by the minister.
Let me ask you a question.
The gate.
Okay. Now listen to me. After that day, there was a major outcry in the whole country. Everybody from the media to the condemned it, legislators, the judiciary, the police denied, EFCC denied, DSS denied. As an experienced journalist, how come you did not reach out to the news medium you're working with and provide a big story that could help tell the whole world the story?
Okay.
Why didn't you name and shame?
Let me explain. Let me explain. In the night when we went there in the daytime and the thing, I said, this is not the address this man. And, no, I'm coming. At the morning of that day, I called Barrister Alex. I said, this thing that happened was not what this man told us. Let him reach out to the Attorney General.
My question is, why? Because it took you 5 days before you eventually reported here.
Let me explain now. On the morning of that day, I said he should get in touch with Lawrence to please call the Attorney General of the Federation that he went to a wrong, and also call the IGP where he claims to work as a CSP, to report to them that this is where he was supposed to go and that this is what happened, and narrate to them so that they should be able to guide him on what to do. So in that process, I never hid anything on. He called me and told me, Stanley, do you know that this thing that they have arrested him? I said, what? I said, I suspected that morning. He called me on Sunday. So that's why I didn't write
Stanley, sit down. I'll ask you a few questions and then you answer, okay? Can you take down your mask? So what's your name?
It's Ajodo Lawrence. Ajodo Lawrence.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kogi State.
You're from where?
Kogi State.
an ID card was recovered from you, and that ID card has the inscription CSP Lawrence Ajodo. And CSP means Chief Superintendent of Police. And when we talk of police here, we're talking of Nigerian Police Force. The simple question I have for you now is, are you a member of the Nigerian Police Force?
No, sir.
Second question is, the ID card also contains inscription Access Recovery Panel, domiciled under the Federal Ministry of Justice. Are you working in such panel under the leadership of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General?
No, sir.
The ID card was signed, purportedly signed by the AG and Minister of Justice. Can you tell us specifically about that? If it was the AG that signed it, tell us when, where he signed it. If it was not him, explain to us why the ID card has to bear his name and signature.
No, sir. It's not the one that signed it.
Tell us more.
It's
Who
not.
signed it?
It's not the one that signed the ID.
How
get
was it signed?
the signature was pasted from the online.
Who did it?
I'm the one.
Gentlemen, a computer, a laptop, 2 flash drives, a printer were recovered in his house in the course of search that was conducted, a legitimate search that was conducted in his house. And also when the laptop was digitally searched, a sample of the signature of the Attorney General of the Federation was found in that piece of computer. We also found a printer in his house. And it was very easy for us to forensically and digitally connect the ID card to the computer and to the printer. For going to the house of the Supreme Court Justice, what did you want to achieve?
It's number 9. It's number 9. It's not number 7. The house is number 7.
Your search warrant contained number 9.
Yes, sir.
But you went to number 7.
Yes, sir.
So what is on the paper does not matter. It is where you went to that matters. So why did you go there?
No, where we get to that place and I find out it's a spiritual. Use the mic. Immediately the thing was revoked. The search warrant is not executed. Was revoked.
So why will you take up the job of a whistleblower? Are you by law or by professional calling in any position where you are supposed to do that job?
Sir, I don't know. Let me just explain because it's based on the way the question came in. So let me explain.
Go ahead.
There is a mandate of 18 accounts in Nigeria given to me. Not that chamber they give. They give to me. Nigeria give to me. I'm in Nigeria. I'm not from another country. This is my country. So they give me 29 accounts to recover. They did not give to any chamber. I am the one they give. Malami give to me. But this assignment I went, Malami did not send me. So that's it. I'm a consultant. I'm a recovery. So I'm a consultant. They give me 9 accounts.
What do you do for a living? Are you a lawyer?
I'm not a lawyer.
But what are you? What is your profession?
I'm a consultant. We are 5 there. We are 5 employed in that office there.
Gentlemen, it's okay. It's okay. Gentlemen, it's okay. Let me tell you. Listen. Let me tell you something. Apart from the ID card that was recovered from him, the one bearing CSP Lawrence Ajodo, we also recovered another ID card from him bearing ASP Ojo, claiming that he works for EFCC. So, gentlemen, like I say, this is an intricate web of criminality. We will, when we commence the prosecution, we urge you to actually make sure you cover the court processes.
My name is Ali Omar Ibrahim.
In this case, are you the whistleblower?
Yes, I'm the whistleblower.
Did you swear affidavit to say that there is money in that house?
Yes, I swear on the affidavit 13 October. When I swear the affidavit, excuse me, let me just give me a minute to explain what gives me the confidence by swearing an affidavit.
Okay.
Introduce myself as a prayer warrior. Introduce to a godson to Justice Peter Odili. When I was introduced to the house, I do some my istihara, and I recovered that the information that I was given for the prayer is real. When I finish my istihara, that is why I go for affidavit. And I was directed to pass the procedure, and that is why I go to AFCC, meeting some interview and interrogation. When I was waiting for their call, they called me, and we all assembly in Ministry of Justice. And I asked Mr. Lawrence that I start my journey from the AFCC, why I see myself here. He answered me that Ministry of Justice, AFCC, is under Ministry of Justice. That is why he asked me for my affidavit, and I gave him. And he told me that he's working in the office. When he asked me for the surveillance, I agree. I go for the surveillance.
What do you mean by surveillance?
The surveillance, he asked me before the operation, when we meet in the Ministry of Justice, he asked me to go for the surveillance, means to show him the particular house for him to know how he can penetrate with his team member.
And which house did you show him?
I show him Justice Peter Odili house number 7.
Thank you. You are a good